Welcome to Bike World, welcome to Portugal, and welcome to the launch of Triumph's new Tiger 800. Now this is a completely new model for Triumph. So it's not a big bore 660, it's not another engine that's been tuned or sleeved down. It's a complete new 3-cylinder 799cc engine from Triumph. And I'm sure we'll probably see that engine in other models. But in this circumstance, it's in the new Tiger Sport, which is a brand new model for 2025.
Sounds lovely on the exhaust. I hope you can get a sense of what it's like, because it's like when you go through some of these villages it just burbles, it sounds good, but then when you send it, it sounds great as well. Did I just say when you send it?
So what Triumph have done is, you could argue they've cheated slightly, because they've produced an adventure looking bike that's got the added advantage of an adventure bike, as in really roomy ergonomics and style, but they put a 17-inch front wheel in it. So obviously it's got no off-road capability, there is no enduro mode or off-road mode. It's got a 17-inch front wheel, it's designed for the road, but looks like an adventure bike. Now the advantage of that is that if you've got a 17-inch front wheel, in theory it should steer better, and you've got a better choice of tyre selection when it comes to choosing something a little grippier.
But I think the big advantage is just having that 17-inch front wheel. It just makes it easier to turn. It is like cheating compared to some of the 19 bikes. Nice to try to close the road for us though.
In terms of styling, it's completely new LED headlights, new adjustable screen, which is one hand adjustable, very simple, very easy. Cruise control comes as standard, there's a quick shifter that comes as standard. Heated grips that we've had on today is an optional extra, but as you see this bike, it's completely standard. Although the paint does cost you an extra £100, but well worth it. I think it looks really stunning in yellow. In terms of electronics, we've got cornering ABS, as you'd expect, cornering traction control, and 3 rider modes, which is rain, road, and sport. The ABS stays consistent, so no matter what mode you're in, the ABS is the same. What the mode does is change the power characteristics, changes the delivery, and changes how much traction control is going to the rear wheel. And in terms of traction control, you've got 113 horsepower at 10,750 RPM, 84 Newton meters of torque at 8,500 RPM. So do you need traction control? I would suggest so, because it's got some grunt and it's got some power. The traction you can turn off, so if you go into the mode, it's pretty simple, takes a few seconds, switch it off before you start riding, and if you want, you could pull immature wheelies, which it does very easily and very well, but I'll get onto that a little bit later. In terms of in the UK, it's coming in at just under £11,000 at 10,999.5, but don't forget, you've got to put that extra £100 on if you want the yellow. So nearest damn it, 11 grand for an 800cc, 115 horsepower, triple sports tourer. Impressive. But we've had the opportunity today to ride it in real mixed conditions here in Faro. So we're right on the southern tip of Portugal, and this morning it was 6-7 degrees. I really wanted those heated grips. I really enjoyed the fact that we've got quality Michelin rubber and a wet mode, cornering ABS and cornering traction control, because there was a few occasions where one corner was dry, the next one was wet, next was dry, next was wet, and the temperature was up and down and crazy. When you ride it at those low speeds, when you ride it in those tricky conditions, you instantly feel that torque, and there's a nice little airbox kind of whoop to it, and you can just get a little bit of sense of what to expect when you're riding it at slow speeds around town. As everybody knows at Bike World, I'm a dwarf. I'm nearly 5'7", yet I can still touch the floor very comfortably on this bike. The seat is standard, there's no adjustability on that. There's an optional high seat and an optional low seat, but there's no way of like changing the bungs underneath the seat to lower it. But to be honest, I've been perfectly fine as it is. By lunchtime, started to dry out, started to have some fun, can really start to open it up. The engine's got really lovely torque, it's nice and linear, you can just drive it through. It sounds really good. The quick shifter is excellent. And it has got a sporty aspect to it. It has got sportiness, it has got grunt, and it is fun. In terms of suspension, we've got shower front, shower back. We've got compression on the right leg and rebound on the left leg and no preload, or it's the other way around. On the rear, we've got a big remote preload, which is easy access if you should put a pillion and luggage, and we've got rebound only. And I have changed nothing. I think it's perfectly fine as it is, completely out the box. Steering is pretty accurate. It's not pinpoint, but it's enough. The bars are quite close. It feels relatively light. We're at 214 kilograms, which considering the 660 is 207 kilograms, that's pretty good in terms of having an 800cc capacity middleweight sports tourer. I don't think it feels weighty. In fact, I think it feels quite flickable and quite light and quite agile, and it's really enjoyable to actually get hold of and thrash it. Ground clearance is good. I just tickled the pegs once or twice, and the brakes, which are Triumph branded radial 4-piston items, are the same ones you find on the Street Twin, if I remember rightly. And when I rode that bike, I was impressed by the brakes, and on this bike, I'm impressed by the brakes. I think if you brake really, really heavily, coming down into some of those hairpins, you can feel the ABS kicking in a little bit early. That's a little criticism, but really not one, because I was riding it way past its parameters and way past how the bike was supposed to be designed. I just got a little bit carried away. I ended up turning off the traction, pulling loads of wheelies, which it does effortlessly, and just having loads of fun. And it's only when we just finish the ride and we come back into town, you're like, I've been riding this bike since 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've had great fun. I've thrashed it. I've done everything I want to do with it. It's handled great. It's had great stability. It's given me feedback, but comfort is not an issue. I've had such a comfortable and easy and enjoyable ride today. In terms of negativities, 1 or 2 people in my group criticised the clocks and the switchgear, but I like them. They're really simple. They're really easy to use. I've got 3 rider modes. That's all I need. Yeah, you got all that Bluetooth connectivity, but I don't want to take phone calls and listen to messages whilst I'm riding my bike. That's why I ride a bike, to get away from all that. The only little downside for me is when you change the modes, for example, when you go from rain to road or road to sport, there's no icon on the dash. So if you walk away from your bike for a coffee and you come back to it and you switch it on, you don't actually know what mode you're in unless you go into the mode to double check which mode you're in. I mean, that is a real little niggle, but for me, it was just bugging me a little bit throughout the ride. In terms of overall appeal, I think Triumph are scoring really highly with this bike. It kind of almost reminds me of some of those great sports touring all-round bikes that have been around for many years. And I'm thinking of bikes like the original VFR 800, which was in many ways a little bit of a boring bike, but it was so good at just doing everything. And I think this is way more exciting than that VFR 800 was, but it's that kind of bike. It just seems to do everything really well. It seems to score 9 out of 10 in every category. I think it looks good, the quality feels good, it feels solid, it feels mechanical, yeah, it's still light and it's still nimble. It's got enough suspension adjustment, it's got enough electronic rider aids, it's got cornering ABS, it's got cornering traction control, it's got a grunty engine, it feels linear, it's torquey, it's fun, it sounds good, it looks good, you can hoon it, and you can pull big wheelies and it'll go fast. Yeah, you could probably use it to get to work on, you could commute in it, and you could fit luggage on it, put a pillion on the box, maybe a top box, and you could ride it all the way from Faro back to the UK without any issues. So, in terms of bike world, it's a big thumbs up. It's really, really good bike. I'm really surprised how good it is for under 11 grand. The only problem that it's going to have is that there's also some really good bikes in this category. And I'm thinking of the Yamaha, which I've ridden many times, the GT, and I think that's a great bike. Sounds good, handles good, good electronics. You see where I'm going with this? It's very much like the Triumph. So I guess that's probably the next stage for us, is to put this at a drag strip against the Yamaha. There's a new 900 from BMW around the corner. That's in this category as well. You could maybe put the Kawasaki SX in there, which is also a really good bike. Strong engine, comfortable, fun, does everything. So that'll be the big test when we put it up against a group test. But in terms of first impressions, really, really impressed. This is almost like a new VFR 800 for 2025, or the old the old 1050 that I rode in the south of France, but much more lighter and much more agile. It's just a do everything bike, and I don't care that it's got a 17-inch wheel, and I don't care it can't go off-road. I'd rather have 17-inch wheel and road handling. If you've got any more detailed, techie, nerdy questions, me, Chris, or Al will get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.